Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to give you my unbiased comparison between pre-construction and resale properties, which hopefully will give you a better idea that what kind of investment works better for you depending upon your situation. But before, I'll quickly introduce myself. My name is Amrit. I sell real estate in Toronto and I try to make honest and educational content around real estate. If you like this type of content, then do please give me a like, share and subscribe. This will really help my channel and let's talk about it. So let's start off with the positive aspect of the pre-construction. First is deposit structure. When buying a pre-construction, you do not need to put down 20% all at once. You can make those payments in installments. Usually it's 5% upon signing, then another 5% in about 100 days, then another 5% in about 200 days, and the balance remaining of 5% is required on closing, basically when the property has been built. Deposit structure varies from project to project, but it typically revolves around this timeline. So you do not need mortgage until the property has been closed, basically when it has been built. On the flip side, if you're buying a resale, you will have to arrange the mortgage on the day one of closing. So this is one of the advantages of having a pre-construction. It gives you flexibility to make those down payments, and during that timeline you have time to arrange a mortgage. Second advantage of having a pre-construction property is that it's super new. So end of the day, you're buying something new and you will be the first person ever who will be moving into that property. And top of this, you can get your own upgrades. So basically you can customize the property as per your needs and wants, which I think is pretty cool. So now let's talk about why pre-construction are not one of my favorite investments. I understand if you're an investor or if you're a cash heavy buyer, then it makes sense till a certain extent. But I would not recommend to somebody who's a first time home buyer, and I'll explain you why. If you look at this chart, it's the comparison between the average price of pre-construction properties and the average price of resale properties. The blue trend line is the average price of pre-construction properties, and the gray trend line is the average price of resale properties. Okay, so since 2017 the gap between both have widened. If you look at in 2022, the average price of pre-construction condo we're sitting at $1,400 per square feet, give and take, and the average price of resale properties we're sitting at $1,070 per square feet. So there is a significant gap. So basically the pre-construction condos are 33% expensive as opposed to resale, and I don't see the gap between both narrowing down in near future because the cost of construction will continue to go up. Now going ahead, I'll quickly show you a comparison between the newly launched project and resale properties just to give you a better picture. So let's check it out. So there's a new project coming up at 8 Elm Street. It's at Yonge and Gerrard. That's the main intersection. And here are a couple of pictures. That's how the building will look like. Here you go. So that's how the building is going to be. So I'm taking 1+10 as an example for our case study. So if you see 1+10 bedroom, it's a 509 square feet approximate square footage. I know not the biggest one. And it's listed for $846,900. So if you calculate the cost per square feet, it comes down to $1,663, which I think is pretty steep. And I'll quickly show you the floor plan of this type of unit. So that's the floor plan. So that's the den on the left side, and on the right side is the bathroom, and this is the living area, and that's the primary bedroom. Okay, so I'm going to compare this with a building called 111 Elizabeth Street. It's 5 to 7 minutes walk from the 8 Elm Street, which is the new building coming up at Yonge and Gerrard. So here we are. So this is the 111 Elizabeth Street, unit 1816. This is not the newest building. I totally agree. It's a 16-year-old building, but this was very close proximity to 8 Elm Street. So I think that would be a good comparison. And it's a well-managed building, so I thought I'll take this as an example. This is a 1+10 with 2 washrooms. Square footage is 600 699. I don't have the exact square footage right now. Sorry about that. So I'm going to take 650 as a median square footage. And if you calculate this price per square feet, so it was sold for $725K. So if you calculate the price per square feet, it comes down at $1,115 per square feet. So that's a significant difference if you compare with the pre-con coming up at 8 Elm Street. And it does include parking and a locker. That is something we have to consider. So parking is worth about $60K in downtown Toronto, give and take. The monthly maintenance is $556, which includes heat and water, and the hydro is separate, which is going to cost you around $60 to $70 a month. So this is also something we have to consider. So most of the newly constructed buildings, they do not include utilities in the monthly maintenance fees. So in the newly constructed building, heat, water, hydro, that's all separate. That's not included in the monthly maintenance fees. So that's also something to think of as well. Okay, so I'll show you another listing. So here's the second building, which I think would be a good comparison. It's at Yonge and Richmond. Nice location, and right at the core, I would say. And so it was sold for $726K on 14th of June in 2022. It's a 552 square feet looking south. And if you calculate the cost per square feet, it comes down to around 1316 per square feet. So it's just a 1-year-old building and the cost per square feet is 1316. So again, there's a significant difference when you compare it with the newly constructed buildings. Okay, doesn't come with the parking, does include locker, and the monthly maintenance is 336, which includes heat and water. Okay, so I'll quickly show you a few pictures. So here are the pictures. This is the living area, and it's actually a pretty good unit with a decent layout, I must say. And if you see the quality of the finishings, they're also pretty nice. Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much. So now let's head to the next project, which is coming up at Church and Dundas. If you're familiar with this intersection, you must have seen this gas station. So this gas station is being replaced by the Century City project. So this building is going to come up by 2027, and it's going to be a 59-story building. Okay, so now I'll show you the price list. So again, I'm taking 1+10 as an example for a case study. So 1+10, 560 square feet, not the biggest one again. And it's listed for $845K. So now again, if you calculate the cost per square foot, so it comes down to $1510 per square foot. So again, I think it's slightly on the higher end. So I'm going to compare this with the building 116 George Street. It's just south of this intersection, Church and Dundas. It's 5 to 7 minutes walk south from this building where this project is coming up. It's actually one of my favorite buildings, 116 George Street, also called the Wu Condos, VU. And I'll quickly show it to you, the unit which was recently sold. So this 116 George Street, unit 909, 1+10 with 1 bath, sold for $721K on December 2022. And if you see, the square footage is 721. So the cost per square foot comes down to $1,000 per square foot, which actually is pretty cool. Actually a very good price, especially if you consider parking and locker is included. And maintenance is 624, which includes heat and water. Okay, and I'll quickly show you the pictures. Here we are. That's the den, and the unit is actually facing south, so you'll have tons of sunlight here. Here you go, and that's the west. That's where the CN Tower is, and this is facing south. So yeah, that's pretty much. I hope I was able to explain well and justify that resale properties are financially more attractive as opposed to pre-construction. Especially if you're a first-time home buyer and you do have access to a mortgage room, then I would highly suggest to lean towards resale. Also, I would suggest buying a resale property in an area or in a close proximity where a new building is being built, because a newly constructed building are going to pull up the prices of resale too, because newly constructed building or the buildings which are being built, they have been sold on a premium price. Secondly, if you're an investor and you're okay managing a tenant, then I would again suggest to lean towards a resale, because a new building takes about 4 to 5 years to complete, right? But on the flip side, if you invest in a resale property and you can put a tenant in there, and those tenants are going to pay monthly rent payments, which are going to help you build equity. So those were my thoughts on resale versus pre-construction. I would really love to know what you think about it. So do let me know in the comments below. And also please like, share and subscribe. This will really help my channel. Thank you and talk to you soon.